Now, let's paint a picture of the evolution of advisory relationships over the time period from 2000 to 2014. And to illustrate the flow of advisory mandates during that period, we show four figures from the paper. Figure 15 shows the evolution away from international financial center-centric elite advisors and the increasing importance of smaller advisors, and we show that in four sets of bar charts. In the first set of bar charts, we show the percent of advisory relations where the target city matches the advisor city. So these bar charts show cases where a company shopped around right at home, right in their own city for an advisor. And what we see is that whereas in both targets and acquirers chose less than 20% of advisors in their own city from the period 2000 to 2007, that domestic local choice increased roughly 37% in the late period of going out. So we see an increasing localization of advisory selection during this period. Similarly, we see a decrease in the proportion of advisors in the top 10 over the time period. So whereas in these going out companies and their targets chose counselors in roughly 75% of the cases working in IFCs in the early period, we see that this proportion had dropped to around 50% by the latest part of going out. Looking at the third part of the figure, we show the extent to which the advisor belongs to these elite firms, which we call bulge bracket banks or big law firms, and we see again a decline in the proportion of advisors belonging to these elite tranches of advisors. So in the early period, if it was roughly around 50%, by the late period it was hovering at around 25%. And finally, we see an increase in the proportion of private companies as opposed to state-owned companies, which are the clients to these advisors. So again, we see that the red bar chart gives way to the black bar chart as the proportion of private companies increases over the going out period. Now, stepping back and looking at these four bar charts as a picture, this clearly shows that if the early period of going out was dominated by elite advisors working in international financial centers, working with state-owned enterprises, and working outside of the city or even country where their customers were based, the latter part of going out represented somewhat the complete reversal of these trends.